Welcome, everyone, to MicroStrategy World 2024. Woo! Let's hear it. Good morning. I'm Carla Fitzgerald. I'd like to welcome you all here. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first MicroStrategy World. And I think maybe it's the first for many of you as well. So I'd like to ask all of you, raise those wands, bang them, and make some noise if this is your first MicroStrategy World. Let's hear it. That's a lot of you. Wonderful. Now, I also happen to think there's a big alumni club out here. So I'm going to ask you again, if you've been to MicroStrategy World at least 5 times, raise your wands and make some noise. A lot of you. Okay, how many of you have been here at least 10 times to MicroStrategy World? Still quite a few, still quite a few. I'm going to go one more time. How many of you have been here at least 15 times to MicroStrategy World? I see you there. One, Michael Saylor, that doesn't count. Okay, I want to give a big round of applause to our veterans here. Thank you. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for being here. This is the 27th MicroStrategy World, and I know it's going to be the most memorable one yet. We have such an amazing lineup of speakers and content and activities for you this week. I'm so excited. And, of course, it starts with this morning's keynote session. In just a few minutes, you're going to hear from our president and CEO, Phong Le. He's going to talk about how important it is to shift our mindsets on how we think about delivering data to empower and activate the front lines of our organizations. And later, Saurabh Abhyankar, our Chief Product Officer, is going to share how we're empowering that shift by embedding generative AI throughout the MicroStrategy ONE platform. Now, Phong and Saurabh are going to be joined on stage by some amazing guest speakers. First, we're going to have our strategic partners, Microsoft and AWS. And then we're going to have a panel session with some extraordinary customers, Vuori Clothing, the US Department of State, and Bayer Pharmaceuticals. And they're going to share their data empowerment journeys with all of you as well. After the keynote, you're going to be immersed into an AI and BI experience. You're going to see demos of all of the latest enhancements in MicroStrategy ONE. You're going to hear from the experts at MicroStrategy, at our partners, and from many of you sitting in this audience today as you share your successes and the important lessons learned as you've been embedding your technology and solutions with the MicroStrategy ONE platform and empowering your organizations. We have more than 60 sessions over many of these topics that you see here today: cloud strategy, embedded experience, analytics toolbox. And you're going to be able to be hands-on with our new AI technology in several workshops and workstations all around the event. Tomorrow afternoon, we start our Bitcoin for Corporations event. Now, if you're not already orange-pilled on Bitcoin, you will absolutely want to hear the keynote session from our founder and chairman, Michael Saylor. He's going to talk about the important role of Bitcoin as a modern store of value in today's digital age. In fact, we have so much great content at the Bitcoin conference and at World overall, you might not be able to decide what to go see. But don't worry, because we're recording all of our sessions, and they're going to be made available to you after the event this week. Many of you have said that networking is one of the most important parts of coming to MicroStrategy World, and we have a beautiful and comfortable collaboration center for you to enjoy this week. You'll be able to meet with microstrategists and our partners. You might want to catch up on email. You might want to talk to one of our consultants about a project you have coming up. Or you might just want to relax and enjoy a cup of coffee. And I recommend you get an extra cup of coffee this afternoon, because we have a high-energy, exciting party planned for you this evening at Zouk, which is the nightclub here at Resorts World, and it is the hottest nightclub on the Strip. Doesn't that look great? You're going to bring those glow wands with you, right? Because we're going to light up the night together, and we're going to have a great time. It's going to make for some great photo ops. Everything I've talked about this morning is the full schedule of events and activities is available in the MicroStrategy mobile app. So if you haven't already, make sure you download the app, fill out your profile, and you're going to want to use it to plan your agenda, be able to view the floor map. You're going to want to schedule meetings with each other and with microstrategists. And make sure you turn on those notifications, because people will want to meet with you, and you don't want to miss any of the important notices from our event team. I am incredibly proud of the highly talented event managers, designers, product managers, sales engineers, developers, so many people who have worked together to put this event here for you this week. And we want to get your feedback. So we are going to have a survey available for you through the app, and we'd really appreciate it if you complete it this week before you go. And in exchange, you'll get one of our World 2024 commemorative t-shirts. Now, none of this is possible without the support of our amazing partners. They're all here. There's exhibit booths for you to go visit. I encourage you to attend their sessions and meet with them during breaks and during meals. And in particular, I want to thank and acknowledge some of our premier sponsors: Our titanium sponsor is AWS. Our 3 platinum sponsors, Google Cloud, Empower BI, and InfoSeps. And our gold sponsors, 66 Degrees, Dataflix, Exasol, Marathon Digital Holdings, Perkins Coie, TD Securities, and Fidelity. Would you please give a big round of applause to all of our sponsors here this week? And now, get ready to make some noise, because it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our President and CEO, Mr. Phong Le. Break a leg.
Good morning, everyone. How many folks, when's the last time before 10 a.m. you heard a live drum show and nightclub music at the same time? What a great way to start your day. Okay, I did this last year, and I promised my kids I'll do it again this year. Just everyone sort of wave your wands, and I'm going to do a little bit of a selfie here. Wow, that's awesome. The power to get you to all wave your wands. I love it. Thank you for being here today. To all of our customers, prospects, partners, analysts, shareholders, Bitcoin lovers, really appreciate you taking the time to be at MicroStrategy World in person. And those who are live streaming, thank you too. So let me get started and talk about letting the data lifeblood flow. You're wondering, what the heck does that mean? In 1998, our executive chairman and founder, Michael Saylor, said, information is like water. Hi, Mike. It's a utility that when everyone has access, we will level the playing field, bringing intelligence everywhere. It should flow and stream freely, friction-free, filling in the gaps of missing wisdom. More than 25 years later, we're still building on this vision. In many organizations, none of you, of course, but many organizations are still struggling with it. I like to think about things a little differently. To me, data is like blood. Blood delivers valuable nutrients, oxygen, amino acids, glucose to your body. And data delivers essential financial, operational, and customer wisdom to your organization. Your heart is the engine that fuels your body, and your heartbeat creates the rhythm with which your body synchronizes and moves. You in this room, data architects, analysts, developers, executives, you're the heart producing that heartbeat. You're the engine that makes sure that data is delivered throughout your organization efficiently, where and when people need it. And your end users and your employees, of course, they're the organs that allow the organization to function and engage the world around you. Your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, your skin, your hands, your body. In an efficient system, the blood, the heart, and the body work together perfectly. 6 quarts of blood circulate throughout your body every 20 seconds. That's 12,000 miles that your blood travels every single day. In perfect rhythm, your heartbeat is the metronome, or conductor of a perfect symphony, much like the drum beats of the drummers that you heard today in unison. And when data flows in your organization the way it should, the warehouses and applications pump, insights are delivered where they're needed, and your frontline employees are empowered to delight customers, close deals, take the right action. every single time. But it doesn't always work this way, does it? Sometimes arteries get clogged, your heart wears down. I'm getting older, I sort of know what this means. Your organs weaken. And likewise, sometimes an ETL job fails at 3:30 in the morning. Your VPN malfunctions. Data goes missing. Your frontline employees don't get the information they need. And your business slows down. Worse yet, your body might get toxins and viruses. Your organization gets the wrong data. You get too much information delivered at the wrong time. So what they hear is not a steady 60 beats per minute. In my case, it's like 52 beats per minute. I'm pretty proud of that. Or a symphony of information clearly telling them what to do. They get a cacophony of data, noise, and too many apps. And so your employees fall into what we call a big data stupor. The big data stupor means your people aren't doing what you hire them to do. They don't have time to create a great customer experience, mentor a newcomer, or solve a sticky problem so customers don't learn, upsells don't happen, and good people leave, which means that opportunities get missed and growth slows and stalls. But that's not it. It gets worse. We, the folks in this room, we overcompensate. Sometimes we diet, we ingest some pills, perform surgery. What does that mean in an organization? We all actually start working harder and harder. We implement digital transformation projects, and we spend years and years and millions of dollars building new data warehouses, implementing new business intelligence systems, building more dashboards, and implementing self-service BI. And what do? We count success as the number of people using ungoverned, distributed dashboards daily in the spirit of self-service. This results in what we call application sprawl. Right, a Gartner survey found last year that the average desk employee typically uses 11 applications to complete their jobs every single day. I know you're thinking to yourselves, I use a lot more than 11 applications to my job every day. This is what we're calling application sprawl. As a result, 47%, literally 1 in 2 workers say they struggle to find the information they need to do their jobs. So you take those 11 applications and you add in spreadsheets, you add in slides, dashboards, visualizations. How many people have more than 11 tabs open on their Chrome browser? More than 20, more than 30, I've seen it. And people aren't now able to do their jobs. And so the big data stupor snowballs. Your employees are inundated with information, but not wisdom. They get frustrated with how much time they spend looking down at their laptops, staring at spreadsheets, dashboards, applications, not doing what you hired them to do and what they're good at. You hired these folks to help customers, to come up with creative ideas, to close deals, and instead, they're staring at information. And worse yet, some of your people find the big data stupor so intolerable, they would just reject it. The noise of desktop apps and dashboards, so 2010s. So they ignore them. They just don't look at them anymore. But that doesn't make their business decisions better. Sure, they might get more time to act now. They're moving faster, but they're making mistakes because they're making decisions without the information and the wisdom they need to do what's right. If you're running a business, it's pretty hard to snap out of the big data stupor. You don't want your people to fly blind with less data, but you don't want to suck them into more unpredictable screen time either. So whatever you do, it's also important that the information your employees are seeing are trustworthy, credible, current, compliant. And so supporting your company's needs for governance is challenging enough. The flurry of screen cramming point solutions makes it even harder. But without it, you're threatening the health of your business, and just as bad, the well-being of your people. So what do you do? You know, of course we came with a solution. What do you do to stop the big data stupor? You focus on delivering value to your frontline employees faster and easier. This is what we're focused on with MicroStrategy One. Last year, we told you how we're integrating AI into our platform. And that's exactly what we've done with MicroStrategy One. Our platform uses AI to deliver just the right answers or guidance to your people at the moment they need it to take action. Your frontline workers get relevant, instant suggestions and predictions with an ability to also ask why. So now, instead of a multi-year digital transformation project to integrate information between dozens of applications, you can substitute a multi-month AI project with MicroStrategy to deliver value faster to your organization. So imagine data available to your employees, like streaming videos through Netflix and Hulu. Imagine it can learn about the operations of an individual store or the needs of an individual employee, so the information it pushes to each person is both relevant and personalized. Employees get to interact with the data in a human way, asking questions and getting guidance. This is intelligence everywhere, and it can be tailored to any industry, any type of job, any kind of device, be a tablet, mobile phone, or another emerging gadget. This is intelligence that has enterprise governance at its core using MicroStrategy's semantic layer, built in to make sure the information is delivered trustworthy and compliant. It offers useful guidance and lets users take action immediately in the way people expect today. And it continues to learn and improve, anticipate what frontline workers need to know, and can even take actions on their behalf automatically. It's pretty cool. And so MicroStrategy One can defeat the big data stupor, sweeps away the clutter of dashboards and apps that suck up the time and energy of your people. You restore order to your workflows, blood flows, the heart pumps again, organs work, all beating to a consistent, predictable, and high-performing drumming rhythm. People work smarter, spend less time looking at screens, and have more time to look up and be human and creative again, which in turn improves your customer experience, helps the company capture new opportunities for growth, and makes your people happier. Many of you today are already on this journey with MicroStrategy One. And for you, thank you. You're empowering a store manager to know certain items are run out and automatically place those orders. You're giving a salesperson all the information they need in the morning before they show up at a prospect meeting, at the right time, help them close the deal. You're using AI to collect and present to a customer service agent relevant information before they pick up the phone. Dozens of companies like Wawa, Pfizer, the Warehouse Group, Bank of America are here sharing their stories and successes over the next 3 days. Everything they're doing, you can do too. And I encourage you to go listen to these customer sessions and understand how they're defeating the big data stupor. Now, I would like to invite 3 of our most innovative customers on stage with me to share their experiences with MicroStrategy One and how they're defeating the big data stupor. So please join me in welcoming our guests from Vuori, the State Department, and Bayer.
Founded in 2015 by Joe Kudla, Vuori makes premium performance apparel inspired by the active coastal California lifestyle. An integration of fitness, surf, sport, and art. Breaking down the boundaries of traditional activewear, Vuori is a new perspective on performance apparel.
Through the power of science, we strive for a world where health is for all and hunger is for none. A world where we can win the fight against life-threatening diseases, where we can take control of our everyday health, and where feeding the planet looks after the planet, giving everyone a chance for a better life. This is a world we'd be proud to pass on. Bayer.
For more than 230 years, the Department of State has sought to protect U.S. security, prosperity, and democratic values, and shape an international environment in which all Americans can thrive. With over 280 diplomatic facilities, the Department of State has global diplomatic reach and influence.
Himanshu, Kim, Shri, thank you so much for your time. Really a pleasure to have you here, and say hi to everybody.
Hello. Morning.
Hello.
Why don't we start with some introductions? Himanshu, would love to hear what you do, who you work for, and tell me about some of the key initiatives that are happening right now for you.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? I work at Vuori. I lead their planning and analytics evolution within the company. I've been with the company for 9 months, but it seems like a lot more than that, given the pace at which we move and the pace at which the company is moving. Vuori is an interesting place. If it's one of the dream places for me personally, because as excited as I get to go to work and solve problems, I also get similarly excited with the SoCal coastal lifestyle that the company embodies, and I so dearly love as well. So it's a great place to work. Love it.
So Himanshu's being modest. Those who live under a rock and have not heard of Vuori, it is one of the fastest growing lifestyle athleisure wear brands in the world. And Himanshu has joined 9 months ago to do exactly what he has done at other places, Ralph Lauren, Nike, PVH, which is really implement what we're talking about, right? MicroStrategy 1 and the ability to empower your frontline retail employees. But maybe you can start and just tell us a little bit about the importance of speed, because you joined 9 months ago and immediately you put MicroStrategy 1 in the cloud and you have it up and running, delivering value to your organization. Tell me about the importance of speed for you.
Yeah, speed is all in Vuori. The speed at which we move. When I walked in, that was one of the most important prerogatives to go solve for analytics, enable analytics, get closer to our internal employees and consumer as fast as we could. We implemented MicroStrategy in less than 2 months. And big thanks to our internal team, the network infrastructure teams, which sometimes could be problematic and it takes time consuming. Those guys helped us out a lot. We are a fully cloud native company, so it helped being on the cloud, connections to data and such was very easy. And big shout out to MicroStrategy cloud team, because they were all with us through the journey and getting us onboarded. A big shout out to ICON team, who's our key partner and has been helping us build and accelerate the life cycle of how we go from setting things up to enabling value for business users. It's been a tremendous journey, but we are just at the beginning of it.
Awesome. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kim McConnell. I am a Foreign Service Officer with the U.S. Department of State. I have been with the Department of State for 19 years, it feels like 19 years. I'm not really sure how that happened. And I am currently the Deputy Managing Director in our Logistics Management Directorate. I have had the honor of serving at our US missions in Belize, Warsaw, Poland, Slovenia, El Salvador, and actually I'll be heading to Iraq later this year to serve at our mission there. It's been an amazing career for me, and over the course of the 19 years have seen before we worked with MicroStrategy, dealt with spreadsheets, a lot of just raw information, not well organized, and used our best judgment and our experience to make decisions. We have a lot of amazing, talented people at the department. That may not be the best business practice, though. So we're very excited now to have the data presented in a way it's accessible. We've been very focused, for example, on the AI. We've been exploring that with MicroStrategy. We are now doing predictive analytics, which really helps us, especially in the logistics world, use our past to help us make decisions about what supplies we're going to need in the future. And also the actionable insights. Foreign service officers, we move every 2 or 3 years, so we are constantly rotating to new locations, domestic and overseas. And so for us in the logistics operations, it is absolutely critical that we are able to arrive at a location and understand the environment in which we're working from an operations perspective. What do we need to do? Where are our weak points? Where are our strengths? And so it's been an amazing journey for us, and I'm really excited to where we're going next.
Well, thanks for that, Kim, and obviously thank you for your 19 years of service to the country. It's just amazing. And folks are like, wow, okay, State Department and Vuori, those are two very different organizations. But I think there's some similarities. You have over 280 consulates, embassies, and locations worldwide, 10,000 field employees, and I'm guessing not all of them love looking at data and dashboards. Tell me a little bit more about the importance of getting information in the hands of your folks as fast and as simply as possible.
Sure, absolutely. So we have at all of our locations a range of staff members. We have locally employed staff. They actually make up often the majority of our team at an overseas mission. So we may have warehouse staff members who need to access the data to understand what's going on in our supplies, with our supplies. We also have those like myself, US direct hire employees. So we have a very wide range of personnel with a very wide range in their skill set and abilities. So it's really critical that we have the data very accessible, quick, easy to not only have, but understand and know what to do with it so that we can decide what we need, whether it's furniture for our residences overseas, vehicles, armored vehicles, shipping times in some of our more austere locations can take many months. So we have that planning that we really need to make sure that folks, they have that ability to do. And then on the domestic side, in my current position, we then want to scale up and aggregate all of that so that at a global level, we understand what our posts are up to, what they're ordering, do they have what they need to complete their missions and objectives, and potentially then do some strategic sourcing to maximize what we're getting for our money spent.
Thank you, Kim. Shri, tell us about yourself and Bayer.
It's nice to be here. Good morning, all. So I've been part of Bayer for a little over 3 years now. I head the data and analytics solutions for them, for the pharma part of the organization. So we have mainly like 4 therapeutic areas or franchises that we primarily focus on. One is oncology, cardiovascular, renal, women's health, and hemophilia. My team kind of supports across all those different functions on various capacities, from supporting the field force across the country and all the home office or the headquarters activities in terms of data and insights, from digital marketing campaigning stuff to some strategic decision making that needs to occur from business planning point of view, or a market access point of view, things that need to occur. So kind of support across the board all those different things. Been in the industry for a little over 28 years now. Half of my career I spent in IT, and then soon realized that there is an opportunity to kind of bridge that gap and enable somebody to translate that business needs and tell that business story effectively and also able to articulate that effectively to the IT team to build those capabilities. So that's what I've been doing for the past, I would say, 13, 14 years.
So at Bayer, you have a pretty broad set of users, of constituents, all the way from field sales employees to folks in call centers to your executive team. Tell me about the importance of governance as you look at sort of all these different people using data in your organization.
Yeah, so it's very important for us to make sure the data and the insights that they get is consistent across the board and have that seamless user experience between these various user community. So to take a step back, to understand in terms of commercial pharma, right? So generally there's a field team, field force that's across the country. They're in the remotest places at times where they need to have access to. And then there is the middle managers or the area general managers who needs to understand within their area how things are progressing, and able to coach them, and able to kind of understand the performance aspects of it. And then you have the headquarters folks who are strategically planning and understanding the performance and be able to deploy. So we use MicroStrategy for that, especially to deploy for the field in terms of mobile app, to be able to get the information what they need at their fingertips, because they have a very few minutes with the doctor, probably 5 to 7 minutes. So they need to make sure they have that information very timely and right-sized information in a bite-sized way that they could consume and have that effective conversation with their customer. Then comes obviously the general managers. So they need that information to understand how am I doing, how is my area doing, and able to have that conversation effectively and to see where they need to make some pivots and changes appropriately. So they're having a dossier and a similar mobile app view to see at the area level is very critical for them. And then obviously the home office folks like to understand at the national level everything and able to drill down where they're doing well, where they're not doing well, and able to kind of quickly understand and have a conversation becomes very critical for them. So we use MicroStrategy across all these different areas, I would call user personas, in terms of seamlessly able to leverage data and drive insights effectively.
Great, thank you. So with Viore, you're going through, as we talked about, rapid growth. And I imagine as a data professional, you need to be constantly in front of technology and looking at the next thing and the next thing. Tell me about some technology initiatives that you're considering and that you're looking at, some technologies that you're exploring.
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with how we look at our business. There are 3 key areas where we are looking to continue to explore and innovate. How we engage with consumer, how we acquire and retain them, and how we use the consumer voice to figure out how we power up our product innovations with all the beautiful products you see on the website and in the stores. And then how do we bring speed to market in our internal operations? So all of this basically ties to connected data. And connected data is the biggest piece which MicroStrategy is helping us unravel, where we are bringing data in one place to start there, bringing common dimensional models, which allows us to have a semantic layer, and then they create the ability to go have business self-serve, but also use the same data to then fire up analytic engines with which we power up our planning, and we power up our planning versus actuals in MicroStrategy. We're also looking to evaluate how we can use tools like AI and hyperintelligence to speed up our process, because we have a unique opportunity where we are not carrying a lot of legacy. So we can basically break through and leapfrog across multiple tiers of builds that people do and get straight to the AI part of it, which we are already using in certain areas, but how to make it more pervasive and more across the board.
Great, thank you. Kim, tell me about some initiatives that you're looking at. I know you're considering the cloud, AI. Tell me about how that is going to help change what you do when you're on the other side in Iraq consuming our information.
Absolutely. We are already, the Department of State is already migrating to cloud services, which is phenomenal and gives us that agility that we really need. And today, actually, we're completing our pilot with MicroStrategy on AI. We had dozens of our overseas users use data unclassified data that we provided, and they got to essentially play with the tool, and it was phenomenal. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and it's really exciting to see what it's capable of doing, how much time it can save us. And as I mentioned, the range of skills that we have with our staff at all these different locations, for them to be able to ask simple questions. They don't have to know which dashboard, which dossier to pull up. They can simply say, how many of our armored vehicles are in X location? And from a Washington side, too, it spares that embassy me having to ask them. We can pull all of that data. So there's very practical applications for it. On the visionary side, we're really hoping that at some point we'll get to a place where even in crisis management, it becomes really critical. For example, there could be a situation where we need to move personnel or sensitive equipment out very, very quickly. And being able to have the AI generate, for example, a motorcade plan for us. This is how many vehicles we have. This is how many personnel. These are the numbers of people that can fit in each car. We know the history of the vehicles to help us plan and give us those options so that our folks who are in that crisis situation already under stress are not having to figure that out. They simply can look at that plan, use their best judgment. We're going to go with course of action A, for example, and be able to execute that faster, keep themselves safe, and also focus on the other priorities that are going on in that situation. So it's really exciting, and I'm very excited to go back out into the field and become a consumer of it. Having been subjected to, in the course of my career, not having that information so readily available. So we're really excited to venture into the AI world in the department.
Yeah, seeing some of your dashboards and AI related to your armored vehicles really brings it home to me. I never really thought about the State Department managing a fleet of thousands of armored vehicles that costs our taxpayers $500,000 each, and the logistics associated with that. And I don't think people sign up to go work, an embassy thinking they have to manage the logistics of armored vehicles. So having that automated so that they can go work on what's really important is such huge value to your organization. So thank you for sharing that story.
Massively. Thank you.
So Sri, tell us just generally, I think Bayer sort of has been using MicroStrategy for a while. Last year, you really redoubled your efforts. You looked at a lot of BI tools out there, and you chose MicroStrategy one. Thank you for doing that. Tell us why. Why MicroStrategy?
Thank you. So as I was describing earlier, I think the seamless user experience was very critical for us. And one of the other important aspects that I strongly believe in is keeping it simple. Keeping it simple is the most difficult thing to do. And having that ability to kind of bite-size information that they need at the field for them to do their job effectively is very important. So, and the sales reps, especially, some of them who are in a very remote places, they are in a garage or in a basement of a hospital, or some of the remote places, the connectivity is very low. So having that offline capability where earlier in the week, they can download the necessary insights or the information that they need about the customer, and not having to be connected on the internet throughout the week and able to do their job effectively is very, very important for us. So that was one of the major reasons to start off with. Adding to that, I think coming to the home office, we had hundreds of reports, as you were mentioning earlier, built by everyone, right? In terms of trying to drive insights or reports to help answer questions and things of nature. So the challenge for us was, how can I develop something more self-serve that can provide quick insights rather than having to develop reports and maintain and manage that regularly? So that business schematic layer that Himanshu was mentioning earlier was very important for us. And able to take that data, translate to that business layer, and able to give that to the analyst's hand, to them able to drive that insights rather than creating hundreds of these reports, which becomes challenging in terms of maintenance, and also if the number is in this report is right versus that report is right. I'm sure everyone had that challenge in the past. We don't have to worry about that. So it becomes very consistent and easier to use. So those are some of the key areas and the reasoning why we kind of went with MicroStrategy.
Well, thank you for your stories, for sharing. with the group, and thank you for being amazing MicroStrategy customers. Please join me in thanking Himanshu, Kim, and Shri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool stories, huh? MicroStrategy 1. Now you figured it out. You figured out how to overcome the big data stupor. You know, another challenge, I like to tell stories about my kids because they're awesome and they don't like me talking about them that much. But those who have kids here can probably relate to this. I'm constantly telling them, literally every day, to put down their devices, to get outside, to observe the beauty of the world, explore, and be creative, and take time to look up and notice what's around them. In an organization, if you want to innovate boldly, if you want to move with agility, if you want to grow and beat your competition, you need to give your employees the same ability to refocus and do what you hired them to do. Get them to stop searching for data in spreadsheets, to stop looking at 20 applications, or else they'll miss all the opportunities that are around them. And I believe, we believe, that MicroStrategy 1 is the platform that lets the data lifeblood flow. That everyone, everywhere, all at once, quickly, reliably, and conveniently, so that finally your people have time to look up. Thank you. Did I catch anyone staring at their devices and you looked up? So now let's hear from another company that's on a similar mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. I'm very happy to invite a really important partner of ours, Ken Miller, General Manager of Microsoft Solutions, to take the stage and share the vision of Microsoft AI in action and the partnership that is MicroStrategy and Microsoft.
Good morning, everyone. It is so fantastic to be here. Really looking forward to chatting today about how Microsoft is seeing the AI opportunity, the AI landscape. And first, before I get started, I really want to thank Fong for the very kind and warm introduction. Like I said, it's absolutely fantastic to be here today. So again, my name is Ken Miller. I've been at Microsoft now for about 21 years. I currently run a high-tech vertical with about 400 customers that consist of enterprise customers, digital natives, and of course, ISVs like MicroStrategy. I live in office out of the San Francisco Bay Area, and living in the Bay Area and working for Microsoft has actually been a treat over the years because there are so many early adopters of technology, so many startups spinning up, bringing new technologies to market. Also gives me great insights into the competitive landscape. I live miles away from Google, Oracle, Salesforce, AWS, et cetera, so that keeps it fun and interesting. I've had a lot of different experiences at Microsoft over the years. Going back to 2010 as an example, I started working on Azure, our public cloud offering. Saw tons of transformation, customers moving on-prem to the cloud, was involved in a lot of transformational partnerships. But believe me when I tell you that there is nothing that I've seen in my 21 years at Microsoft that compares to anything that we're seeing on the AI front. So a lot of times people will ask, you know, what's happening? What's the Gen AI opportunity? Everyone in this audience has probably seen reports from Gartner, Accenture, et cetera, with a bunch of different stats about the impact of Gen AI. I'm not going to focus on numbers or stats today because we could probably all convince ourselves that there's a massive market opportunity. I'll give you an example, though. People ask me all the time, like, hey, Ken, so like, you work for Microsoft, you got all this AI stuff happening. Give me an example of how you're using it. So I'll make it real for you. I flew in yesterday from the San Francisco Bay Area, went to the conference, met with a bunch of people, had dinner last night with a colleague, went back to my hotel room, and I did that dreaded thing that we all do. Fired up Outlook, and I'm just watching the inbox meter spin. 246 unread emails. So I typed this prompt into Outlook, summarize my inbox for me. A minute later, I had a beautiful summary of my inbox. I mean, it literally works. Super cool, awesome stuff. Then I entered another prompt. I said, summarize all of the high importance emails that are in my inbox with my name on the to line. Minute later, I get this output. There are 15 emails from my mother-in-law asking for her Wi-Fi password. Unbelievable. I mean, how many people in the audience can relate to that? We're like shadow IT for our mother-in-law, right? Like, it's the story of my life. It's unbelievable. On a serious note, that I will tell you that, to Satya's credit, he saw this market opportunity many, many years ago. We've been focused on AI and ML and a lot of these technologies for years. But back in 2019, Satya made an investment. Microsoft, Satya made an investment in OpenAI. I was actually part of that initial deal team that worked on that partnership. And in full transparency, at the time, I had no idea who OpenAI was. We followed that up again by another investment a year later for another $1 billion, and we've been investing heavily ever since. As a result of that, we've been able to make tremendous progress in this space. And we're not doing it alone. That's really the key takeaway for me, that it's our partners like MicroStrategy that are adopting these technologies, they're innovating, and they're making it real. So I love this quote, Fresh Current, Forrester, April 2024. For me, it's really the last sentence here. The longer you wait, the further you will be behind. If you're not adopting AI today, I guarantee your competitors are, other companies are, and they're going to ultimately take share. They're going to drive more top-line revenue. They will see more customer adoption. It's happening all around us. And again, the question, is AI real, Ken? How often are you seeing it? Are you still using ChatGPT at cocktail parties to write poems? Not the case. Last week, during our earnings call, Satya said that 65% of the Fortune 500 are now using the Azure OpenAI service. Pretty incredible if you ask me. We haven't been at this that long, and you've got 65% of the Fortune 500 now using the Azure OpenAI service. And I guarantee you that's growing daily. We're seeing more and more companies actually move from on-prem to the cloud as a result of AI. A lot of our customers that we have that were reluctant to move to the cloud, to modernize, to migrate, they now see this as a huge opportunity. So again, more and more and more momentum with migrations. I can tell you that we're seeing a significant uptick in our business at Microsoft. During our earnings call last week, Satya also said that the number of our $100 million plus Azure opportunities is up 80% year over year. The number of $10 million deals that we're seeing has doubled since last year. So there's a ton of adoption. We're moving very quickly. We're working with partners like MicroStrategy, and the innovation is what's driving the consumption on Azure and the primary reason why we're seeing these meters spin so quickly. I'll give you a couple other examples just to make this real. There are 4 kind of case studies on this slide. I don't have time to go through all of them today. All of this is public information. And I would encourage you to go online as time allows and take a look at what the white papers and case studies that exist, because they're real customer scenarios. I'm going to talk about 2 very briefly today. The first one is PepsiCo, a brand that everyone has heard of, familiar with, snacks, sodas, etc. They wanted to predict demand so that they had inventory in grocery stores kind of real time and not have inventory sitting in warehouses. No one wants to wake up on Super Bowl Sunday, go to their local grocery store, and see empty shelves. They were consuming data from a bunch of different disparate data sets, probably running various filters in Excel, and they were doing a pretty good job. It took countless hours every day, every week. Frontline workers burnt out from going through that exercise, and they really weren't able to predict accurately what demand would look like. They started working with Azure AI and machine learning, game changer, much, much better customer experiences. They were able to predict demand much more effectively, so it was a win-win. But for me, though, it's not just about the ability to predict demand. Think about all of those frontline workers that are now no longer sitting in front of a screen focused on Excel spreadsheets, but rather have the opportunity to work on more strategic projects. The second example is really near and dear to my heart. It's regarding Johns Hopkins. And you can see here that they believe they could save 30,000 lives per year by leveraging AI to detect cancer. Rather than use the human eye, they believe, again, that they could leverage AI to detect pancreatic cancer very early in the cycle. The reason that's kind of near and dear to my heart is that my father passed away recently from prostate cancer. And when I read this, I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be a miracle if AI existed like it does today 5 years ago? If it was prominent then, could they have detected my dad's prostate cancer sooner and extended his life? So again, AI is not only impacting technology, but it's impacting all industries, including healthcare, right? That's why I wanted to cite that example. So I want to talk about our partnership, the Microsoft and MicroStrategy partnership. Microsoft has always been a partner-led company. Many folks in the audience today probably know that. You've probably worked with Microsoft over the years. We've been very focused on partners. Any of you that attended conferences years ago when Steve Ballmer was our CEO, he'd get on stage. I'm not going to do it today because I would embarrass myself, but he would literally like jump up and down and just scream, partner, partner, partner. So the point is, we've been very focused on partners for a long time. From a partnership perspective between Microsoft and MicroStrategy, we have deep engineering roadmaps that we're working on together. So we have engineering integration between the two companies. It's super, super important, right? So that we could essentially build solutions together that benefit all of our joint customers. MicroStrategy already has deep integrations with your favorite apps. I talked about some of the M365 apps earlier, but when you think about like Outlook, Teams, other M365 apps, that's already happened today. We're working together currently. MicroStrategy is part of a developer program that will allow them to build a plugin for Copilot so you can access data from the semantic graph in Teams. This is huge. It's a game changer for users. It's a game changer for MicroStrategy customers. It's a game changer for Microsoft all up. Very, very significant. So to summarize, we are using the comprehensive set of cloud services, AI investments, and robust security to really bolster our all-up partnership. Our partnership with MicroStrategy and with other partners, of course, they all run on trust. At Microsoft, we are committed to security, privacy, and compliance across everything we do. I think we've set a lot of industry standards. Again, I mean, you can go out and do your own research and come back and let me know what you think, but I do think that we've set the bar in terms of excellence around security, privacy, compliance across all of our cloud offerings. The other thing that's super important here is that data is what fuels AI. Everyone here probably understands that. You need to, when you work with a partner, whether it's a hyperscaler or any other partner, you really got to double click on what they're doing with your data. It's your data. It's not our data. It's your data. We don't use your data to train our AI models. Your data is protected every step along the way, okay? Super important point. Those are the questions you have to ask. Last but not least, about 6 or 8 months ago, we issued a customer copyright or a statement regarding a customer copyright commitment. Brad Smith, who's the president of Microsoft, has written several articles about this. Essentially, we are protecting our customers with a very deep, detailed customer copyright commitment. It's a game changer, and again, it just shows how we are innovating in the AI space for the betterment of all of our customers. So check that out as time allows. So I also want to spend a couple of minutes regarding kind of our all-up partnership between Microsoft and MicroStrategy. As I mentioned earlier, I've got a vertical with 400 customers. Very few of those 400 customers are deemed top-tier partners. MicroStrategy is a top-tier partner. What that means is they get more attention, more investment, and quite honestly, more love from Microsoft. They've earned that. You can take their solutions, the MicroStrategy solutions, you could buy them through the Azure Marketplace. It's very seamless, very simple way. It increases the time to market. You could essentially go to the Azure Marketplace, buy these solutions, and you could decrement your existing commitments to Microsoft. So if a customer has a $10 million commitment to Azure with Microsoft, they could use that commitment to purchase solutions in our Azure Marketplace. We also align our global sales force. We've got probably 20,000 Microsoft field sellers across the world, local language, local currency, that are all compensated for reselling these solutions. So there's a deep partnership in the field as well from a go-to-market perspective. All right, so just to wrap this up, I want to just run through a few points here. I think it's fair to say that Microsoft has been a trailblazer in AI. Hopefully some of what I've talked about today resonates with you, and you would agree that we've been innovating rapidly, we've been blazing the trail. I think it's also fair to say that MicroStrategy has been a trailblazer as well. If you think about kind of their decision to blaze the trail with Bitcoin, extremely unique. I don't know of any other public companies that are set up the way MicroStrategy is, with the Bitcoin investment as well as having businesses that are driving revenue and taking share at the same time. They're blazing that trail. MicroStrategy was also the first customer to come to us when we started making announcements with OpenAI and making Azure OpenAI commercially available. They were one of the first customers to come to us and say, hey, we want to innovate with you. They're blazing the trail, for sure. I think that leveraging our partnership allows you to future-proof all of your AI investments. That's super important for the long term. You're working with MicroStrategy, top-tier player. You're working with Microsoft, top-tier player. All of your AI initiatives or investments are future-proofed. What I'd say in closing is this. As a mutual customer, you're now poised to be a trailblazer. You have that opportunity. The opportunity is yours, and we're thrilled at the chance to partner with you on this journey. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope everyone has a great conference. Feel free to reach out with any questions. You've got my LinkedIn profile there. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Awesome job. That was pretty cool. How many of you are going to go back to your hotel rooms afterwards and ask Office 365 Copilot to summarize your inbox? And how many are a little afraid that their mother-in-law's emails are going to pop up at the top? I am. I'm a little bit worried. 5 years ago, you probably would never have imagined MicroStrategy and Microsoft standing up on stage at MicroStrategy World together, talking about our partnership and our innovation. But as you can see, this is pretty real, right? Co-innovating with our partners is a big part of our strategy going forward. And for those who are out in the audience who are partners of MicroStrategy, thank you so much for sticking with us and believing in us. And the journey that we're about to go on and that we've been going on is a big part of what you're doing, and you're a big part of that. So you've heard me talk about letting the data lifeblood flow and how MicroStrategy 1 can defeat the big data stupor. But you're probably starting to visualize a little bit, with our customer stories, what that means from a technology perspective. But the next segment of MicroStrategy World is getting deeper into what exactly does the tech do, what exactly does the product do, and how it'll enable you and your organizations to overcome the big data stupor. So with that, I'm very excited to reintroduce for some of you, our Chief Product Officer, Saurabh Abhyankar.
Thanks, Fogg.
You'll kill it.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. You having fun so far? Yes? Awesome. Well, welcome to MicroStrategy World 2024. This is actually our second live event in person post-COVID, so it's nice to see all your faces and get together. It's not quite the same over Zoom or Teams or these kinds of things. As some of you might know, last year we introduced this fun little robot called Hackatron, and Hackatron was actually symbolic of our transformation as a company that's more nimble, innovative, fun. And actually, it kind of goes back. It's called Hackatron because we're all engineers at heart, and we want to build great software and want to move really fast. And as you've probably already seen in the hallways and outside this room, there's a new member of the family this year that we're introducing you to today. And that new member is Otto. And Otto quite literally represents the transformation of our product. And so that's really what I'm here to talk to you about today. But it's kind of funny, isn't it? It's sort of ironic that Phong was here for the last half an hour talking about looking up and getting out of screens and being more human and interacting at the front line. But I'm here talking about robots and AI and machines and things like this. It seems a bit contradictory. But actually, it's not that contradictory. If you think about who we are as humans, we are tool builders. And humans for 250,000 years, we've been building tools and inventing things to amplify our human abilities. And this is what's allowed us to live longer, connect better around the world, travel globally, trade globally with currency and money, right? So it's really up to all of us, and that's why I hope you're all here. It's up to all of us to take that technology and these brand new innovations like AI and help better humanity and better our frontline workers and our employees along the way. And so we've got all this tech. But this is not working. But we really need to start with the end user and work our way back to the tech. And Steve Jobs said this about a quarter century ago, which is a long time ago. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, in our personal lives, things have gotten much more convenient. For end users in the personal world, you can click a button and you can grab an Uber. You can click a button and you can order something. You can click a button and you can stream video. You can click a button and fly to Tokyo later today if that's what you want to do. And so our lives have definitely gotten easier and have improved in the personal world. But in the enterprise space, we're still struggling, aren't we? I mean, it takes me longer to book a travel or do expenses in my enterprise life than it is in my personal life. And so we have a long ways to go. And the question then becomes, what's the problem? Like, why have we not solved this in the enterprise world? We've done a pretty good job of solving this in our personal lives. And it all really comes down to friction. We've got data silos, data in multiple places. We've got users, and I got to tell you, users don't want to learn new tools. They don't want another dashboard. They don't want another thing. And all of this stuff requires maintenance and cost that gets harder and harder for us to deal with. And going back to Phong's keynote about the lifeblood, it's sort of like we've got cholesterol clogging our arteries, and things are just not flowing the way that it should. And so now we need to figure out, well, how do we solve this problem? And the truth is, we've been actually trying to solve this problem for the last 20 years. And the current way, by the way, I think is the hard way. The current way is to build new infrastructure. It's like digging up the roads and putting in new pipes and those kinds of things. It's new data warehouses, new ERP systems. And the truth is, these are long projects. I was actually talking to a customer just yesterday, and I won't mention names, and it made me kind of smile, because I'm like, I can say that in my keynote. And they were talking about how they were consolidating 13 different ERP systems. I said, well, how long have you been doing that? And they said, 3 years. I'm like, wow, that's a long time. They're like, oh, no, we're not done yet. But that's the reality of trying to bring all this stuff together. And so we're here to basically tell you that we think there's a better way. Right? That a better way is to actually let your data be where it is, let your applications be where they are. Of course, you'll still do digital transformation. You will buy new ERP systems. That's all good. But in addition to doing that, the better way is to kind of fly above and not have to dig. And what that means is we believe that you should be able to connect the dots between those applications. Leave the apps where they are, let the people do what they want to do, and inject intelligence across those applications. Embed it and connect the dots between the data that you have. In other words, stop digging. And so that's what MicroStrategy 1 is really all about. We engineered it to get you there fast. This is why it's cloud native. It is AI first, right? And there's 3 product pillars on which we've built MicroStrategy 1. Convenience, reliability, and flexibility. Let's just have a look at each of those things. So what is convenience all about? Well, convenience is about letting your users work the way they want to work. And we kind of put this funny little picture up here because, honestly, it's hard enough to get people to even come to the office nowadays, let alone change their behavior and get them to adopt new tools. So let them use the apps that they use. Let them use the data that they already have. Let them use the devices that they have. And by the way, let them work where they currently work. And so that's really what convenience is all about. And we'll show you some things that we're doing in that area. The second is reliability. Now, Fong mentioned a quote from Michael Saylor from 1998, I think it was, about information flowing like water. In fact, fun fact, internally at MicroStrategy, our internal BI system, we actually call it Aqueduct, right? So it's like this strong, reliable way to flow information from one place to another. And hopefully it'll stand the test of time for 2,000 years. But reliability is really about that. If you think about water, imagine going home today, turning on the faucet, and the water not coming out. It would scare you because we're not used to that. And so information needs to be just as reliable. If you don't have reliable information, you don't have reliable water, you don't have reliable currency, if you don't have reliable energy, then society starts to get a little bit tricky, right? And we believe that information and data is just as critical as any of those other pieces as well. And so we've been doing a lot to make sure that your data is trustworthy, that it can scale, right? We're not trying to give clean water to just the kings anymore, right? We're trying to give clean water to everybody and clean data to everybody, so it has to scale. And finally, flexibility. Now, flexibility is all about your ability to change. If you think about your organizations, today you have whatever number of apps that you have. Maybe you have an Azure strategy or an AWS strategy or a Google strategy. Maybe you have an on-premise strategy. But the reality is these things change all the time. A new executive comes along and says, hey, let's go that way. A new technology gets invented and everyone's like, let's go that way. And so what we really want you to do is to be able to use MicroStrategy in any of these scenarios, to be flexible, to go between our partners, to work across our partners. And that's really, again, what MicroStrategy 1 is all about. Now, over the past year, we've taken what was the potential of Gen AI, and I use that word precisely because a year ago, Gen AI was really just potential. And we took the potential of Gen AI, brought it into MicroStrategy 1, and we turned it into reality. And then we wanted to personify that. And so today, I'm proud to introduce Otto. Otto makes BI human for the first time ever. We're able to use generative AI to give Otto linguistic skills so it can understand you. And not just understand you in English and in French and in Spanish, understand you in pretty much any language. And it knows who you are because the MicroStrategy side of things knows who you are as a user, knows what data you have access to, knows what context you're in, right? And so Otto becomes that good buddy, right? That little friend that's with you all the time, and it's always there by your side. And you all will have a chance to get a physical version of Otto, and then you'll have a chance to build a digital version of Otto. And we designed it physically to be the sidekick of Hackathon. But really, we envision it as being your sidekick to help you, build dashboards faster, get answers to questions faster, enable your frontline workers better. And so that's really what Otto is all about. It infuses AI across every experience in MicroStrategy 1. So now let's have a look at some of the things that we've built and where we're going next. So the first pillar is convenience. And Otto makes BI more convenient than ever. And it basically allows you to automate the creation of dashboards. You can build custom bots. You can embed those bots into all these old legacy applications that could use a little bit of fresh paint, right? And you can put Auto on a mobile device so that it's in everybody's pocket. So we'll get started with looking at Auto dashboards. Now, Auto dashboards, when we started thinking about what this should be all about, we set one goal. Let's make it 10 times faster to create a dashboard. And actually, I'm not quite sure if we got to 10x or 100x or 5x. It's kind of a range, right? Depends on the kind of dashboard you're trying to build. But you'll see here, we've got a blank sheet. We've connected it up with some data. And we've got Auto. Auto is that little assistant on the side there. And let me just play this demo. Basically, Auto does a couple of things for you. The first is it recommends the kinds of things and the kinds of analyses you can do based on the data that's available. And so it gives you suggestions. So maybe you're a novice and you really don't even know what this data has in it. Well, Auto's got that cognitive skill, right? So it can understand the data and understand what's possible. And then you can go ahead and ask for something. And then it'll just create it in seconds. And what's really cool is that this is a real MicroStrategy dashboard. And you can change the look and feel, you can format it, you can change things that you want inside it. And so you can go from 0 to a useful dashboard literally in seconds, maybe minutes, but certainly multiple orders of magnitude faster than you could ever before. Now, why does this matter? It matters because the analysts in your organizations today that build dashboards are some of the most precious resources in your company. Actually, we've got one. Her name's Jessica. And it's like everybody needs Jessica's time to get things done because she's the expert. And I suspect you all have a Jessica in your organization. And these are very, very precious resources. So the question is, how do we help free them up, give them more time? And if we can get Jessica to be able to do 5 times as much work in the same amount of time, or maybe even get some more work-life balance, all of those things would be great. All right. Now, once you've built a dashboard, what do you do next? And as I mentioned before, our goal is to inject intelligence into the applications that your users already use. And let's face it, most of our users use Microsoft Office, right? And so over the past year or so, we've been enhancing our Excel connectivity. We've introduced 2 new plugins, a new PowerPoint plugin and a new Teams plugin as well, to basically bring the power of trusted data from MicroStrategy into those tools that people love and use all the time. So in this demo, we've got ourselves an Excel, a PowerPoint slide. And you can see up there, you've got the plugin, the MicroStrategy PowerPoint plugin. And it's really straightforward. You click the plugin, you browse for the content that you have. Of course, this is all governed and secured by our enterprise security. You select the pieces that you want, and boom, just like that, they're inside your PowerPoint presentation. Now, this is really powerful because it allows somebody to build great content in MicroStrategy, powered by AI, so now it's only a few seconds, but then bring it into PowerPoint, build their board deck, build their monthly or weekly operations meeting sheet, whatever it might be, and then get it out to the world. And the content that they bring into PowerPoint, importantly, is refreshable, right? So the next time they open it up, next week, they can refresh it, and they can get the new content. Now, it's optionally refreshable, because you don't want to be in the middle of a meeting, and certainly not with a meeting with Fong. You don't want to be in the middle of a meeting, and all of a sudden the data all changes. So this is optionally refreshable. It stays static until you say, I want to refresh it. You get the new data, and you're good to go. All right. Now, the next thing we asked ourselves is, with Gen AI, just how much does the world change? And with every generation of BI, there's been a new content type. It started off in the 90s with the era of reporting, and so the report was the thing. And then came along dashboards, and the dashboard was the thing. It was a new content type. And then when mobile intelligence came along, we invented mobile applications, right? And so in the world of Gen AI, there is, in fact, a new content type. And that content type is a bot. And so what we've done in MicroStrategy is added a new bot object to allow you to build bots on top of MicroStrategy data so that you can basically get from MicroStrategy data to a great Q&A experience in just a few clicks. So here, just to show you this, we've started, it's a new bot. We've wired it up to some data in MicroStrategy. We just basically selected a data set, so I skipped that part. And once you've done that, you can tweak the data. You can go in. You can give the bot a name, right? You can give it an image. You can actually give it a greeting, because think about your end users. They come in, and they see this thing, and the bot can explain to them what it's able to do. You can also suggest topics. You can do things like custom prompts and instructions. And this is actually really important, because with custom instructions, you can actually give the bot a personality. I used to joke around in the first days. I would tell the bot to talk like Yoda. And it was kind of hilarious, actually, because you would ask this like really serious question, this finance question, and Yoda would come back, and it would be in the typical Yoda form of answers. So you can give it a personality, and you can use custom instructions to actually specify exactly how it should behave. So that's really cool. Now, once you've taken and created one of these bots, what's the value? Well, the value is, if you think about all of these enterprise applications you have, some of these old legacy apps, some of the newer ones, whatever it might be, and you, I presume, are tasked with injecting AI into these applications. And that's actually really hard, because you have to learn how LLMs work. You've got to train them up. You've got to secure it. You've got to do a whole bunch of things before you can actually inject those bots into those applications. Well, with MicroStrategy and our custom bots, you literally bring data into MicroStrategy. You already know how to do that. You click like 4 buttons and build a bot. And then you can take that bot to a number of different places very, very quickly, basically up-leveling all the applications that you already have out there. Now, of course, I mentioned, we invented mobile intelligence about a decade ago. Michael Saylor actually literally wrote the book on mobile intelligence. And so, of course, these bots are available in your pocket on a mobile device. And I got to tell you, when one of my friends, Jose, showed me the first demo of the bots on a phone, I was like, my God, like I grew up in the 80s, and we had this vision of tricorders and these things that you could talk to that would give you answers. And for the first time ever, it started to feel a little bit real, because you can click the microphone button, you can ask it a question, and this thing just magically goes and gets you answers to questions. So I think that's pretty cool. And for your frontline workers who are out there on the job with your customers, what this means is that they never have to say, I don't know, to your customers ever again. They can pull this out, ask a question, and get an answer. Now, the last thing I want to mention here is that we also wanted to make it really easy to then embed the custom bot into your applications. And we've done this in 2 ways. The first, as you can see here, might be a little bit small for you to see, but once you've created a bot, you click the Share button, and then you can click Embed, and then we will actually generate the JavaScript code for you to paste into your application. Right? So that's dead easy. You just grab the JavaScript code, you can tweak it, you can customize it, you can put it in ChatGPT, and it'll tweak it for you, and then you can put it into your application. And so here's an example where we're going to go ahead, we're going to grab the code snippet, and then you can just plop the JavaScript into pretty much any application that allows you to do that, in this particular case, Salesforce. And so why would you do this? Well, there's lots of cases where maybe you have Salesforce, maybe you have some other application, but you have data in other applications. But you want those users to be able to access that other data. Well, you can build a bot on that data coming from different applications, and then you can embed it into the apps that they actually go to all the time, instead of forcing them to have to switch between applications. So those are some of the features that we've done. There's actually one more thing I want to mention is, in addition to the JavaScript, we also have added a REST API on top. And this is actually a really powerful API that allows you to basically programmatically access the power of auto. And I'll just give you a quick story about this. It was I think it was Tuesday last week. It was 5 p.m., 6 p.m., something like this. And I asked one of my product managers, Shang, hey man, is it like theoretically possible to use our APIs to integrate with Slack? Because we don't yet have Slack integration for the bots. And he's like, yeah, it's theoretically possible. All right, cool. And so I'm like, all right, that's nice. I go to sleep that night, wake up the next morning, and on Teams, ironically, I have this message. And Shang had built a prototype that night of our Auto integrated with Slack. Now, it's just a prototype. It didn't do all SSO and all that kind of stuff. It was just a one-night thing. But it just tells you that sky's really the limit. It's really your imagination that limits where you can go with some of these things that we've built. And so the last thing I want to say is, when we think about convenience, there's one company in the world that really stands out. It's the company that brought us one-click ordering. It's the company that brought us same-day shipping. It's the company that brought us e-books at a click. And it's the company that, in some ways, makes me spend, and my wife spend, a lot more money than we probably should. And that company, of course, is Amazon. And today, I'm proud to have on stage with me Carol Potts, who is the general manager of ISV in the United States for AWS. Carol?
Thank you, Saurabh. And good morning, everyone. It is great to see you. I am very happy to be here with all of you today. At AWS, I lead the business working with software companies like MicroStrategy, and we work together to jointly build solutions for our customers. This year at AWS, I will be celebrating 10 years with the company, and that is just like our partnership with MicroStrategy. We're very, very proud of our decade-long relationship that we have and the incredible growth and innovation that we've done together for our customers. What makes our partnership work is our shared value of our customers and our customer obsession. We jointly work backwards from what our customers need so that we are working on what you need for your business. Today, I want to talk about how we work together to create transformative experiences for our customers. At Amazon, we do know about speed and scale. We are relentlessly focused on innovation and transforming our customers' experience. And we're working to deliver that innovation faster and with greater impact all the time. Even after my 10 years here at Amazon, I'm really impressed with the pace of innovation and the way that it continues. We like to say at Amazon, it's always day one. You might have heard us say that. And the reason we do is we have a mentality that every day is like the first day of the company, and we need to move fast. So at Amazon, it's always day one. Speed is easy when you're small, but it's exponentially more challenging when you're operating on a global scale. Amazon's operations network serves hundreds of millions of customers and billions of orders every day, running through our supply chain and logistics infrastructure. That's why we value inventing new things and always working to make those things more radically simple and also automated. How Amazon achieves speed and scale in ways that create unique and differentiated experiences for our customers is at the heart of our conversation today and our approach to AI, ML, and data. We've seen this at AWS with our customers. Every customer wants the Gen AI conversation. We've talked about that a lot throughout the morning. It's a boardroom conversation. I'm sure you're all feeling that urgency. Every industry as well has the capability and capacity for monumental transformation through generative AI. And MicroStrategy and AWS together are able to help accelerate that transformation. But it's important to remember that, as you see in this visual, that the applications are really just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface lies a very complex ecosystem of data management, analytics, data integration, and governance to ensure that everything runs efficiently, effective, and ethical, in an ethical manner as well. So it's really the data processes and how the data is used securely that must absolutely be nailed down to effectively ensure the pervasive access and speed that you all want. And it's accurate to say, as you know, that the data landscape itself is evolving. And one thing is for certain, in addition to the evolving landscape, that business environments are complex. They're constantly changing. You have new use cases coming online because of generative AI applications. You have existing workloads that are scaling. You might have an acquisition from your company and have to integrate that, and of course, comply with regulation. So in all of this, data is absolutely the key. Data is your differentiator, and we know you want to put it to work. MicroStrategy and AWS, as I mentioned, have partnered for 10 years and counting to deliver the data foundation that is comprehensive, integrated, and governed. Each one of those is required. Since you need a comprehensive set of services to meet your needs now and in the future, it's really our job to help you imagine what's possible. Take the impossible and make it possible. Together, MicroStrategy and AWS provide solutions that integrate your data so you can easily access it, regardless of where the data lives or where your people are. Let me provide an example of how we jointly brought this to life. Make it real for you. If you've been to the United Kingdom and you went to a grocery store, chances are it was a Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's is the second largest grocery retailer in the UK. They have been around for 150 years. For a legacy company that's been around that long, they are rooted in community and values of their company and their customers. And they also know, in addition to that, they know how important it is to evolve and to embrace technology. Sainsbury's recognized that delivering unified information across its business could have a transformative effect for their employees and also for their customers. There were the challenge, there were dozens of disparate systems and hundreds of siloed analytics solutions. Hundreds, and they were all siloed. They had a problem of accuracy and consistency. So the goal was to democratize the data for employees so that they could provide a single source of truth, and the team could leverage that data no matter where they sat. They would be able to also then make faster business decisions. So the focus was on simplicity and speed. What we were told by Sainsbury, I love this quote, this is what they said. They wanted us to help them make access as ubiquitous as breathing oxygen. That is something none of us ever think about, breathing oxygen. So you could see that was a bold request. And I'm super proud to say that MicroStrategy and AWS enabled that solution to help them do that. The simplified, powerful solution stack that leverages the MicroStrategy cloud, supported by the underlying AWS infrastructure and tools built into the solution, is what was provided to Sainsbury's. The solution offered by MicroStrategy ensures that information is able to be leveraged by each employee, regardless of their role or their location, and they get the right data for making the business decisions that they need, and that informs their decisions. Today, as a result, more than 12,000 Sainsbury's employees leverage 30 custom analytics applications to drive everyday decision-making on the store floor, and that goes across corporate functions to the C-suite. And it's powered by one platform of MicroStrategy Cloud and AWS. This is what we call better together, of MicroStrategy and AWS being better together for our customers. And this was about transforming analytics into a business advantage. MicroStrategy made that possible for Sainsbury's. And it's what makes them one of our top accelerators and one of our top software companies that we like to work with. When MicroStrategy and AWS join forces, we make the impossible possible. And together, with the depth of MicroStrategy's data and analytics expertise, we are jointly transforming businesses. If you want to unlock innovation and move faster, we are here to help you together. At AWS, we're excited to continue our partnership with MicroStrategy and also together to help you on your data journey. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day and the show.
Good job. Thank you very much. All right. I bet you thought I was done. I told you there was 3 pillars. So that sort of wraps up where we are in terms of convenience, right? Injecting AI across creating dashboards, custom bots that you can put into any application, embedding them, and then, of course, putting them on mobile devices as well. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. So let's talk about where we're going next. And usually, for those of you that have been to MicroStrategy World before, usually when we say next, we're talking like at some unknown time in the future. But today, actually, these pieces here, we're talking about the next couple of months. And so these are things that we're very, very close to shipping. And as I mentioned before, convenience is all about bringing analytics and intelligence out to all those people where they live. We talked about them living in office and bringing it out to them there, bringing it out to their pockets. There's a couple of other areas that they live as well, though. They live in browsers, right? Many enterprise applications and even personal applications are web-based. And so how do we bring it to all of those apps if we don't control those apps? And then, if they're not in a browser, usually they're collaborating more and more now in tools like Teams and Slack. And so how do we bring it out there as well? You know, we invented a product called HyperIntelligence a few years ago. And it was meant to solve this problem, right? How do we actually inject intelligence into web applications if we don't control them? And so what we did is we invented this extension for Chrome and for Edge. And HyperIntelligence watches the things that your users are doing and then injects intelligent things like information about their products, their employees, maybe other things, depending on what you designed it for, in context right into the apps that they're already in. So they don't have to actually jump between things, and they don't have to go to a dashboard and all that sort of stuff. Well, today we're proud to announce that we're bringing auto to HyperIntelligence. And what that effectively does is it brings AI, your AI, that you can build on your data, to pretty much any web application out there in the world very, very quickly and easily. And so here we've got mocked up a pretend sales application, because we didn't really want to pick a specific one. But this is a sales application. And you can see HyperIntelligence has already underlined some of the things, like products and whatnot, that I found interesting. And so if I just play this, you'll see that the user can just hover over, and boom, they get instant insights. But there's something new. At the bottom there is a little text box where you can ask questions. And that's exactly what the user can do. So once you've built a bot, you can associate it with a HyperIntelligence card. And now you're injecting not just the card, but also AI right into the workflow for the users. So this is really a way for you to unlock and unleash, it sounds kind of terrible in some ways, unleash AI out into the world, out for your users, in ways that you could never imagine before with just a few little clicks and very, very easily. So that's AI in a browser, auto in a browser via HyperIntelligence. Now, when people aren't in a browser, more and more, they're living in teams. I mean, I spend probably, it's kind of funny, my kids, every once in a while, they see me working at home, and they're like, I don't know if I want to do your job, man. It sounds like you just sit there all day and talk. And it's kind of true, right? We're sitting there in teams, I'm chatting away, and I'm talking away. And that's really, I mean, I live in Teams and Zoom and these kinds of applications pretty much my entire workday. And so how do we inject intelligence into that? Now, I want to take a moment here and pause, because if you just look at this as, oh, cool, autos in Teams, It's like, OK, that's kind of an interesting thing. Sounds valuable. But you really need to think about where this goes and what this represents. Because these bots, what are these bots? Well, these bots are they're like little employees, right? They do things for you. You can have a sales bot, a marketing bot, a supply chain bot, or whatever bot. You can build these things. Now, by bringing them into teams, you can add them as teammates, right? So if you have a sales channel or a finance channel, you can add the finance bot. You can add the sales bot. You can add the marketing bot. And all of a sudden, these become almost part of your employee base. And you can ask them questions. And imagine where they go next. Imagine they can just watch and see what's going on in the channel and answer questions on your behalf. So you're sleeping at night. Someone says, hey, does anybody know anything about Sainsbury's and what's going on there as a customer? Boom, the bot can just jump in and answer the question. How cool would that be? So this is the future we envision, and that future isn't so far away. And the demo is dead easy, right? So here we are. We're in Teams. As you'll see here as this plays. Let's look again. All right. Here, you're in a team, you're talking to some people, and someone's got a question. And now you can just go, hey, Otto, can you answer this question for me? And Otto will jump in. It'll use that same underlying semantic graph, that same trusted data, and answer the question. You can do forecasts. And as Otto learns and as Otto gets smarter, it'll be able to do more and more things. This is really just the beginning. And so we plan to ship this just a couple of months from now. Now, there's one thing where I'd like this to go. And we're not quite sure how to solve it from an engineering perspective, but we've got Microsoft in the audience. We've got our engineering team. So what I would love is right now, you'd have to, well, when we ship this, you'd have to say, hey, at Otto or at SalesBot, and then ask a question. And it will answer the question. Where we really want this to go is imagine you just add it to your team. And as people talk, they ask questions. And then just like it works today, where a human being jumps in and answers the question, because like, hey, I know how to answer that. We'd love it if the bot could do that as well. Okay? That's where we'd like to go. There's some engineering challenges because we don't want to send everything to the LLM and have all this like traffic. But if we can figure out a way to solve that problem, I think these bots can really evolve to being little mini employees that work on our behalf. And some of the things that I'm not even talking about today that we've shipped recently around actions, for example, we can now actually have Python actions in our metadata. And so you can imagine these bots not just being able to answer questions, but take action for you, approve a service request or whatever. So the future, like you can kind of see where this is starting to go over time. So I wanted to pause here for a bit because it sounds like just like a basic integration, but the opportunity is actually much bigger than that. So that is everything that we're doing to make business intelligence and AI convenient for you and for your frontline workers. The second major pillar is reliability. And as you all know, we have a long history of data management and governance, and we always got up here and talked about enterprise scale and all these things. And it's kind of funny, right? Because over the past 5 years, nobody cared about that stuff, right? People only cared about visualizations. They got completely distracted. And we weren't very happy about that. But the reality is now everyone's kind of coming back to basics because they're realizing if AI can do the visualizations and all that stuff, well, we better get the data to be in good shape, right? And so the importance of a semantic graph all of a sudden becomes 10x more important, maybe 100x more important than ever before. If you have Otto to answer questions, it really comes down to that underlying data model and the cleanliness of that data. So we've been doing this for a long time. But with Gen AI, we were able to really take things to a whole new level. And you've seen Otto so far, Otto creating dashboards, Otto embedded, Otto in a hypercard. So you just saw the front of Otto, the face of Otto. But what's going on in the mind of Otto? And if you think about the human brain does lots of different things, but there's 3 kind of big things that are important for a human to function. One is it has to have analytic skills, right? This is the calculation, the math center of your brain. It's usually on this side, by the way. The second is the linguistic center, the reasoning center, something that can understand language and so forth. And the third piece is your memory, so you can learn over time. And we challenged our engineering team. We said, hey, can you replicate that? Can you mimic that in software? And Cesare, who's sitting right there, he's like, I can do that. And they did. And kudos to the engineering team. And what we basically did is we took our semantic graph and our computation. That's the analytic part of Otto, right? It's the left brain of auto. And then we took and we partnered, Mel helped us partner with Microsoft, and we got OpenAI and the LLM. Now, the LLM is the linguistic part of auto. It understands language. It can reason. It can behave like an analyst. We can say, hey, LLM, I want to do this kind of analysis. How would I do that? And it can explain how to do that. And then just recently, we added a vector database and some other things. We call that the knowledge store, and we gave auto a memory. And we're really proud of this, actually, because we think that between these three things and some of the things that we've done from an engineering perspective, it really sets us aside in the industry. We've always known that our semantic graph is really powerful, but now you can see why it's more powerful than ever before. Our partnership strategy, right, to be able to embrace OpenAI and Microsoft and take the best of what they have and put it in the brain as well, helped us. And then adding learning capabilities really helps auto be a lot smarter than really anything that we've seen in the industry. So that is the mind of auto today. But where are we going next? Well, we want auto to learn even more. And it was funny, I was talking to Carla, and I was like, auto doesn't actually make any mistakes. It's the human that's the problem. And it was a bit of a joke. But the reality is this, just like when two human beings interact, there can be a lot of miscommunication, right? When somebody says X, I might interpret that differently. Like when my daughter says, I've got a really high GPA, I interpret that differently. Or when someone says, this is expensive, or this is cheap, I interpret that different than somebody else, right? And so how can we have auto learn things like this at the individual level? Because it's not even corporate. It's really at the individual level. And so this is a bit of a hard-to-see demo. We actually tried to scale it yesterday. We weren't able to do it. But this gives you a bit of a sense. What we basically did is we created a lot more interactivity for some of these ambiguous scenarios. So in this particular case, the user says, hey, give me customers with a high customer satisfaction score. And Auto's like, well, what do you mean by high? Right? What's the threshold for high? And then the user then goes and responds and says, high means this, right? If you're trying to go to UVA, by the way, a high GPA is above 4.3. But if you're trying to go somewhere else, a high GPA might be 2.5, right? It really depends. Anyways, so we can learn from that. And the next time I ask for something like this, it will have learned and known how I wanted that question to be answered. So that's really powerful. And similarly, we also add the ability for a user to go, hey, you know what? That's not right. That's not the answer I wanted. And then the user can explain, this is what I intended when I asked that question. And so that's all going to go into that memory center that we talked about in the mind of auto. Now, the last demo that I'm going to do today is probably the hardest one. If you think about BI, if you think about analytics, we've been talking about frontline workers. And really, we've been talking about the last mile of BI, right? Where it gets out into the world, out to the users, as a chatbot, as a visualization, as a thing. But actually, increasingly, the last mile is getting easier because of AI. What's hard is the first mile of BI, connecting to data, building a data model, making sure that it's clean, fixing it all up, and getting it to a state where you can actually even get to the second and third miles, right? And so we challenged our engineering team. We said, hey, listen, we've got this really powerful semantic graph, and it's growing, and you're giving it memory, and we're giving it linguistic skills, and all this stuff that you're doing. But building one of these things is still a little bit tricky. Can we apply the same principles that we did to Auto Dashboard and bring it to the world of data modeling? And of course, Cesari's like, yeah, I can do that. And so we started working on that about a year ago. If you were at World last year, you saw some of the initial vision for it. We do actually plan to ship this year, and it's called auto modeling. And basically, I'll walk you through the demo. It's pretty straightforward. We took all the steps between connecting to the data and all the things that you need to do to prepare, wrangle, model, hierarchies, folders, calculations, and we tried to automate as much of that as we possibly could, each one of those steps, with recommendations and with AI. And so that's what this demo does. You go in and you say, I want to create a new data model. And as usual, you select which project you want to put it into. That's kind of classic MicroStrategy stuff. And once you've done that, all you really need to do is pick what's the source of data. And in fact, over time, we're actually going to improve that as well. We don't even have to pick the source of data. You just say what you want. But nonetheless, you pick a source of data, and then you say, hey, I want to do retail sales. And from that point forward, it starts to recommend things and automatically do things for you. So here it's gone, it's picked the right tables that you need to do a retail analysis. You can just say, yeah, I want those, bring those into my model. Or you can change it. You can say, I only want 6 of these or 4 of these. And then once you bring them in, automatically we start doing all the other things. We start recommending joins. We start recommending object, attribute, and metric creation. We start recommending data prep and data cleansing. We recommend things like names of things and folders. Now, listen, not all of this will be here in the first release, right? But as we evolve, as we go through the years, this is the kind of thing that we really expect. Now, what's the value of this? Under the hood, this is our semantic graph. We're not re-engineering any of the underlying object model or anything like this. And so that means that we inherit 30 years of engineering that we've done in our semantic layer. But then we, just like we did with everything else, we add AI to that and radically simplify the user experience and allow people to get from data to data model to AI in just, hopefully minutes at some point in the future. So that's auto modeling. The last area I want to talk about is our third pillar of flexibility. And as you know, we've always been this open, independent company. This is why we love having Microsoft on stage, AWS on stage. I hope next year we've got Google on stage as well. And so we've always been open to multi-cloud. And in fact, that was a journey. We started with AWS back in 2014. Then we added Azure in roughly 2019. And just in December of 2023, we also added Google. And I believe that makes us maybe the only BI company to provide a managed cloud solution on all 3 hyperscalers, which gives you basically infinite choice. We're always going to be the any data company, and that's why I said at the very beginning, it's like, leave your data where it is. You don't have to move it all to a big data warehouse. You can if you want to, but we'll connect to it wherever it lives, and we'll continue to do that. And importantly, over the last 7 years or so, we've re-engineered all of our APIs so that they're RESTful, very easy to use, but very powerful, so that you can programmatically have access to anything in MicroStrategy. And that allows you to do a lot of things that maybe we don't even do out of the box. In terms of where we're going next is a couple of key areas. The first is multi-LLM. I do think this makes us quite unique because, again, we've got these great partnerships with Microsoft, Google, and AWS. We started with Azure OpenAI, right? They were first to market, and they're really great at what they do. But over time, we absolutely intend to also embrace what AWS is doing with Bedrock and with Anthropic Claude, and then over on the Google side with Gemini as well. So you'll see us evolve in that direction. And again, that gives you full flexibility in terms of being able to use the LLM that makes sense for you and for your business. And the final thing is any cloud. Now you're saying, what on earth is the difference between multi-cloud and any cloud? Isn't that the same thing? It's not. Multi-cloud is the fact that we support multiple hyperscaler clouds, right? Google, Azure, and AWS. Any cloud is the next step. We've taken and containerized our architecture, and we're going to make that architecture available to our customers to deploy on the Kubernetes deployment of their choice. And what that means is you will be able to run MicroStrategy 1, including AI, in your own private cloud environment. And we plan to get there by the end of this year. And so that is MicroStrategy 1 and Auto. Pretty much 90% of everything that we showed today is actually available today. You can go and use it. You can go and play with it yourselves. The future is absolutely right now. And it's up to all of you to think about, who are your users, who are these frontline workers, and how can we take this technology to make their lives better? And as you leave in a few minutes here, there's a number of things I want to direct you towards that can get you started right away. The first is go and attend some of the demo sessions. I was only able to touch on a few things, with little mini demos today, but we have much deeper demo sessions in the demo theaters starting at, well, it was supposed to be 11:30, but my guess is it's going to be 11:45. So there'll be one starting in English, and then 15 minutes after that, we also have 2 more in English and in Spanish. So please go check out those demo sessions. Some really great presenters, much deeper demos than I was able to do on stage today. The second thing is visit one of our Build-A-Bot workshops, okay? And a Build-A-Bot workshop is digital, okay? You're not actually physically building a bot. You are digitally building a bot, so you can upload some data if you have some, or you can use some of our samples. But at the end of it, you will get your own little auto. So last year, we actually gave these away, just anybody that came. But really, this year, we want you to go play with Auto, play with MicroStrategy AI. And at the end, you get this nice toy. You can take it home. I'm sure your kids will love it. It's nice and heavy. It feels like a real thing. And the final thing I want to say is you can also sign up for a new product that we've just launched online called Auto Express. And Auto Express is a free trial of MicroStrategy AI and Auto. You can go there, you can sign up, you go to express.microstrategy.com. Then you can use some of our sample data, or you can upload your own data, and you can build a bot, well, not a physical bot, but you can build a MicroStrategy digital bot. You can also use Auto Dashboard, Auto Answers, and over time, that will be enhanced with things like Auto Data Modeling as well. So I really do hope and wish you a very good event. But before I let you go, there is just one last thing. One last thought I wanted to leave you all with. And it's really this. Every company needs to have, I would say, an essence that makes them who they are and gives them a core value, if you will. And oftentimes, when it's real, you don't even put a word to it. And MicroStrategy, at its very core, since our founding 35 years ago, it's really been about freedom. It's been about freedom of technology, freedom to look up, freedom for the frontline workers, and importantly, freedom for you all as visionaries to envision the future and then go and make it happen. So thank you all very much, and I wish you a very good World 2024.